So yeah, I just find that with the synchronicities of things, that there's a rhythm to it. And when you have your intuition activated, the synchronicities aren't necessarily coincidences. You're in the flow. And being in the flow means you're in your rhythmic flow. So sometimes, you have little hiccups, stops and starts, whatever. And that's where your discipline comes in, that you just maintain your steadiness and your choice of how are you going to handle it. Are you going to get really frustrated? Are you going to, get a lot of upsetment? Or are you just going to kind of go, okay, let me go in another direction? Because that's the other thing about rhythm, is that it's not always in the same direction. It encourages us, if we have a little stutter or a little hiccup, it's an opportunity to go in a different direction. And this science of this technology of Kundalini is very much about angular energy. It's really interesting. So do you know about sacred geometry? Yeah, I think you girls both probably know all about it. You were talking about going to Sedona and Vortex. Of course you know about that. So with the sacred geometry, and if you look at the way that the constellations are in the sky, and you look at all the way the planets align and move, and everything is so synchronistically in rhythm and in congruence, and it's perfect. And when we speak of it as God's plan, but really for me, God and universe are one and the same. God is a word that we've created here as humans to have, I guess, more of a concept of this vast energy that we really can't wrap our heads fully around. And Yogi Bhajan broke God down to generating, organizing, delivering / destroying, or destroying / delivering, depending on whatever the sequence is. It's the Shiva Shakti. So we have this sacred geometry and this angular energy. And when you look at all the angles, like in the flower of life, even though it's all circular energy, when it all comes together, it creates this matrix of these diagonal lines. You can just get lost forever in looking at this imagery. Where I lived in Utah, we had a labyrinth on our property, and we also had a pretty incredible phenomenon of this magnetite fin. And this magnetite was it originated in the center of the earth, because the earth's magnetic core is a crystalline magnetic core. And so this material, this magnetite, was pushed up from the center of the earth and was exposed for millions and millions of years. It was a pretty big dike or fin, and it was naturally magnetic, and it was a diagonal line across the property at the top of the hill where we had 21 acres. It was right at the top of this beautiful diagonal line. It was about 12 feet high and ran about 20 feet long, and then it dove underground and it disappeared. So the labyrinth was made by the original owners of the property as a seven circuit pattern diagram at the top of this hill. And they did an outstanding job of laying it all out. They did the coordinates exactly right with the directions and everything. And so it created a vortex. So, we have these vortexes inside of us as the chakras. And it's not just the 7 chakras and the 8 that surround you. We're made up of lots and lots and lots of all these chakras, these meridian line points and energy points. If you look at an image of the human form without the skin suit on, we're beings of light, because we literally have these 72 lines of energy that are known as the nadis, and we look like just beautiful helix of energy from the energetic perspective, from our formless perspective. And there are all these diagonal lines. So when we understand the concept of working with diagonal, sometimes it's best to not just go straight. go with the diagonal. You may have a whole different experience and a much more powerful experience if you go on the diagonal. When you, what is it when you cut material on the diagonal, it doesn't tear? What is that? I'll have to ask Peyton because her mom's a seamstress. She'll know what I'm talking about. Or when you try to tear the material on the diagonal, it won't tear. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's very, very strong. So we take the concept of an obstacle being a square, being a block, a square. And then when we cut through it with the diagonal, we suddenly have two totally different shapes. We have two triangles, or two other shapes emerge when you cut it through. So when we practice Kundalini Yoga and we're in this rhythmic, coordinated effort of mantra, of breath, of this, all this beautiful kriya sequence and rhythm, we're going at this diagonal. We're moving our energy diagonally to cut through. You know, maybe there's some upsetment, maybe there's, you know, whatever that's going on. And you emerge in this whole nother way of self-evolvement, self-initiation. Because this isn't me telling you what to do. This is being directed as a channel, that's information that's coming through, and you to have your own experience with it. So, you know, Angela might do something entirely different than you, Vanessa, or you, Nicole, and yet you're all having this incredible experience. And because we're all doing this together, we have a group consciousness experience that's happening as well, which makes it even more powerful. So then it expands outward even more. And once again, it's all women that are here. So, you know, with the feminine element of how powerful we are as women, it becomes even more exponentially expansive. And because we're creatures of manifestation, lots goes down and goes up and sideways from it all. Yeah? So I always encourage and invite you to put your intention out there and don't hold back. Don't hold back. Don't think, oh, well, you know, no. Put it out there. You know, I'd like to, I don't know, make $1 million, just as an example of money. I'd like to make $1 million next year, or I'd like to make $2 million next year, or I'd like to really, you know, get that opportunity to have a boat and go to Fiji or something. I don't know, whatever, right? The sky's the limit. So put your intention out there in a big way, because it really can. And the universe, it's like you're throwing your fast pitch out to the universe, and the universe always hits it back as a home run. Might not be in the timing that you think it needs to be in, but it typically always happens.